All right. Well, welcome to chapter two. So this is our second part of the show. In this one, we're gonna discuss some of the action from the NBA and NHL because we really hadn't touched back on this since we did the preview shows back in October. So, Patrick, I guess let's start with the NBA. And I mean, I guess the biggest story throughout the season has been the hot start of the Golden State Warriors. I mean, they're 30-1. Well, hold on. Did they win in Dallas tonight?
29-1, and I think they are losing in Dallas tonight.
Yeah, I know Steph Curry did not play. I think he sat this one out with the leg injury.
They just lost. They're 29-2. So they
Okay.
just lost 91 to 114.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Dallas was on them.
got shelled. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that one thing about Dallas, they can score. They got some shooters there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think they were gonna give you a case. Yeah. Well, all right. So they're 29-2, but even still, man, really, really hot start, and they're just they're playing like a team who is on a mission to prove the championship was not a fluke. They weren't getting a lot of respect from the championship. You have people like Doc Rivers, the Clippers head coach, talking about they got lucky last year because they didn't have to play the Clippers or the Spurs. Uh, some other people were talking about how with Cleveland being hurt and all they had was LeBron, they didn't have to play a full complement Cavs squad. So Golden State is coming out and they have been very, very intent on making sure everybody knows this is not a fluke. So, really, what is your thoughts about how they're coming out and playing, and I guess particularly the play of Steph Curry?
Well, I can tell you right now, they're not coming out playing with a chip on their shoulder. They got the entire damn ruffle bag on their shoulder. They are not cutting anybody slack. I mean, tonight they cut the Mavericks slack with Curry not playing, but um from what I saw, in a few highlights, the Mavericks played very well. So I can't really sit and say that the Warriors wouldn't have lost, or they would have won, or they would have lost, or whatever. The fact of the matter is, look, you got 82 games. The chances of going undefeated in 82 games, unless you're the UConn women's basketball team, is zero. It's not gonna happen. And if it does happen, they've been under a desk making sure it happens, and it's just not gonna happen. So Dallas played really well. Warriors wanted to rest Curry tonight, so they rested Curry and they got routed. But it's a second loss. They're 29-2. No other team in history has had a as hard of a start as they did. They went 24-0 before they lost their first game to the Bucks, and then when they lost that to the Bucks, they had one game um, after that, and then they played the Bucks again and waxed them by 40 points. So you're not going to win them all, but I can tell you right now, they're a team they're on a mission. They're playing really well, and honestly, I don't see this becoming an issue. Yeah, they might lose 10, 12, 14 games, whatever. The fact of the matter is, if they go 72-10, that's a fantastic season. I think it was the Bulls with Michael Jordan did that one year.
Yeah, the 95-96 Bulls for 72 and
95,
10.
96 Bulls. So sorry, I'm thirsty. Um, but Warriors are looking good, and what can you say? They're playing very well. So I mean, that's all you can say about it.
Well, yeah. You know what? With the crazy thing is, even with Golden State playing that well, quietly as usual, the San Antonio Spurs are not too far behind, and and they're just rolling along, taking care of their business. Um, the Spurs, they're gonna be there. I
Mm.
mean, it's pretty much one of those. It's guaranteed. It's right there with taxes. The Spurs are gonna be there,
Well, they've
and
been a proven commodity, and And the Spurs don't do anything different from year to year. They know their identity, they bring their identity, and they play. And you're going to you look at people like Tim Duncan. All right, this dude is like 95 years old, and he's still putting up 40 points a game, 30 points a game, or whatever it is. He's averaging a double-double in the year, and he's 90. I mean, come on. I mean, they wheel him in on a wheelchair. He puts up 30 points. He sits his ass back down in the wheelchair and gets wheeled off.
And we'll see. I mean, we'll see with the rest of the teams. I think OKC, they will still be heard from before the year is over. I think they're still kind of trying to get everything meshed with new head coach Billy Donovan. But I think when they do, they're going to be dangerous as well. When you have two of the six best players in the league,
Mr.
you will
50-50.
always have a shot.
Mr. 50,
Huh?
Mr. 50-50.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook. Yeah.
That's Mr. 50.
And
You got him running your offense. Man, I mean, dude, he has to be one of the best point guards in the entire game right now. Granted, there's a lot of things I would like to slap him for. Don't shoot a ball in 22 seconds left in the shot clock, kind of thing. But other than that, I mean, he gets his own rebounds. He has more hustle than anybody on the court, and that's scary when you just flat out look at it. So yeah, I mean, I think the Thunder are right there. They're third place. And I don't. I mean, honestly, you're really starting to pan out to looking at the Western Conference is probably pretty much starting to set in, except for the maybe the sixth, seventh, and eighth seed teams, which could go kind of any way with Portland and Sacramento right there nipping on the heels of Utah. But I mean, those three teams, Golden State, San Antonio, and Oklahoma, they're scary, dude. They're scary.
all right, well, let's jump over to the Eastern Conference, Patrick. And while we're always talking about how deep the West is, the Eastern Conference is actually shown a good amount of depth. And from all indications, they have played the Western Conference teams pretty well over the course of the year. I guess Cleveland is in first place. They're starting. They have most of their people back, probably all their people back now. I know they sat Kyrie Irving down yesterday, but he should be back for the long haul, barring any injury, of course. But I mean, you've had some pleasant surprises in the East. Well, Boston has been pretty surprising. They have a lot of players. I mean, they're kind of a deep team.
They just need to learn to utilize them. And I do
Yeah,
have to say this: it's kind of nice looking at the Eastern Conference and seeing that eighth seed team actually above 500.
I know, man. I mean, the East actually, record wise, is deeper than the West
Mm-hmm.
because you have the teams who are over 500, and like you said, that is good to see. It's good to finally see some of these East teams showing up. The funny thing is, some of the teams we thought would be better, they're not as good as what we thought. Like Milwaukee, like Washington. I mean, these teams have been struggling, but the East is still looking pretty deep as far as records go.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm just sitting here looking at it. The Western Conference actually has Houston and Utah with below 500 records.
Mm-hmm.
In the East, you got Boston that's 18 and 14. So, it's really good to see that this Eastern Conference team or the Eastern Conference teams are starting to play a lot better. You can see it, and they're actually playing the West very, very well. So, I mean, I looked at Cleveland, I looked at Atlanta, looking at Toronto and Chicago. Excuse me, and then a few of Miami games and the Boston games because I had Boston as my dark horse kind of thing. But looking at all these teams, they're not playing bad, but they're not playing good. It's like you look at Cleveland, they're 21-9 with the best in the Eastern Conference. They're looking really good. Don't want to say it, but.
Just say it, Patrick, man. Don't be all salty on me right now, man. Come on, go ahead.
No. To hell with LeBron James. I hate any team he's on. You know that, right?
Yes, boy, do I ever know. But it's okay, Patrick. You know what? You don't have to admit it now. It's still, well, it's about to be January. It's okay. It's all right.
We got plenty of time. I got Atlanta coming out of the Eastern, so hey, they're second. That's all I'm saying.
Well, all right. Well, with that, Patrick, let's move on to the NHL. So the NHL, what you have here is, well, we'll start with the Eastern Conference with this because you have the Washington Capitals who have the best or the most points in the league. 58 points they have right now, and they look. It doesn't even look close right now. In terms of how good they are from the rest of the Eastern Conference. Now, there are some teams in there that have been playing Florida, the Florida Panthers. Big surprise. They're leading the Atlantic Division right now. You would think Montreal, Tampa Bay, who you and I liked to come out of the East, you would think they would start to get it together too. The Rangers, the Islanders, the Bruins could make some noise too. But the Capitals look really good right now. Really good. That addition of TJ Oshie coming in there looks like it has settled down a lot of things, and the goaltender is playing out of his mind too.
I mean, they're playing fantastic. I mean, dude, they're on a 7-game winning streak right now. Granted, they only have 46 points, but I mean, dude, 14 of those points have came in the past freaking 2 weeks. They're playing fantastic, and I mean, just flat out playing good hockey. But did we expect Washington to be this dominant? I didn't expect them to be this dominant. I mean, I expected it to be a little closer, but not 12 points blowing out the rest of the freaking conference. That's just.
Yeah, I mean, I had them as a dark horse. I mean, that's.
I had Boston as a dark horse, and they're doing about exactly what I expected them to do. Maybe a little better than what I expected them to do. Because the Boston's so inconsistent right now. They'll go on a 6-game win streak and win like 8-4, 6-3, and then all of a sudden it's just like, where the hell? Where the hell does this team come from? And then all of a sudden they'll lose 8-4, 6-3. Where the hell where did the team go? I was like, you showed up and then you don't, and then you just leave. I mean, like, at least tell the host that you left. These motherfuckers just my fault.
It's all good. No, hey,
roll out the door. They don't even care.
Hey, real quick, Patrick. I gotta bring this up real quick because the Canadians and the Bruins are playing in the Winter Classic. Now, I don't know if you've had the chance to watch the Winter Classic. That is cool. That is really cool to me to sit there and you put the rink in the middle of a stadium. I think this one is going to be in Gillette Stadium where the New England Patriots play. I've seen a few of these Winter Classics. The one that was really cool to me was when I think it was the
last year when they played at Michigan State Stadium when it snowed.
Yes, the Maple Leafs and the Red Wings played there, and that was super cool. It was snowing, 100,000 people in the stands. That was cool. I mean, they do series. I guess they have the outdoor series that they do now, where they have a few games. I know they had an outdoor game in Los Angeles.
They also have a game out on a battleship sometimes too. It just depends on if they can get the battleship in. But they'll throw a rink out there on the battleship, and they'll put the battleship out there, and they'll play on that.
Well, that is, I mean, that's cool. That is cool. I like that, and I think it would be the same thing. You got that. That's, I mean, the Bruins and Canadians. That's your most heated rivalry in the league.
Yeah, and now they're playing in the Winter Classic. Yeah, I'm super pumped about it. I've been like, I want to watch it. I'm so excited.
It's cool. I mean, it's really cool to watch those games, man.
Well, it's snowing up there too.
Yeah, I mean, I know it was snowing. I don't know what the temperature is going to be. From what I saw, I think it's going to be in the 40s. So definitely you would want it a little bit cooler, but yeah, I guess you take what you get. Well, anything else about the East before we move on to the West?
Yeah, I wanted to mention because I if I recall correctly, because I haven't seen our webcast in a while, I said that these teams better watch out for Columbus. Okay, I take that back because Columbus sucks.
Yeah, you did say that, but they beat Dallas yesterday, and we'll get on
Oh,
Dallas in a
14 to
minute.
22. They
Dallas yesterday.
they only got 31 points. They might as well go ahead and count themselves out of the playoffs.
Yeah, they might be good for the number one draft pick. All right, well,
But I will say this, man. It's funny though. It's like because they lost so many players, man. You know, it's funny. It's like you just don't know where this team is gonna head now because of the players that they lost. And you know, I really kind of hope that they get back together because they kind of like I like Columbus. You know what I'm saying? For some reason, it's like they I like them. I don't know why, but I hope they get it together because I'd really like to see them contend because they're really good. I guess maybe I like them because they play a lot like Boston. Um,
well, they got to build. I mean, they have a young team.
yeah, and they're a good team and they have some really good coaching and they got really good upper office. I'd really like to see them start contending again. But other than that, man, that's all I got about the East.
All right, well, let's go on to the West, and we mentioned the Dallas Stars. So when we did the hockey preview, that was both of our dark horses to start off the season. Well, they have the best record in the West, 1 point behind the Washington Capitals for the best record in the league. And for the longest time, they did have the most points in the league until Washington got on this hot streak. So, look, Dallas, they've been rolling, man. That offense, man. With Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, Patrick Sharp, and Johnny Adulia, they've kind of fallen right into place. I mean, they've
It was
gotten the.
my fault. My fault. I would say
Say that again.
with Dallas and those four players, man. It's funny how they just meshed so fast. To me that was amazing. Um, with the way Tyler Sagan controls the puck, I mean he's a fantastic player. You know the things that he does, man. I mean he kind of reminds you of Stamkos. You know what I mean? Um, but he handles the puck so well, and man, he is like a phenomenal passer. He's finding Ben and Sharp. I mean, he's finding them on no look passes, man. I was like, how in the hell is he doing that? But yeah, Dallas, man, the way they mesh so fast together. Whoever decided to go get Sharp and pay what they wanted to pay for him, and giving him what he wanted, good call, man. Because that team is dangerous with those four.
Yeah, it's just a matter of can they keep it up. They're a team who likes to get up and down the ice. But what they showed when they played the St. Louis Blues, I got to actually see that game Sunday evening. They can win the grinders too. St. Louis is a team they're gonna mess it up. I mean, they're gonna be physical with you. They're gonna grind the game out. They got a big team too. St. Louis has a big team.
Yeah,
And Dallas showed they could grind out some wins, or grind out a win against that type of team. So it just kind of shows versatile with how they do things. So if they're able to keep this up when it comes, yeah, definitely Dallas could make some noise. We're gonna go back real quick, Patrick, to our picks. So we had looking at it, you had Nashville, I had Anaheim. Both of those teams are kind of struggling right now. Um,
mine's not struggling as much as yours is.
No, they're not. So good on you. I'm sure you're gonna go ahead. You're gonna get every point you can. I know I got it, Patrick. I understand. But
Fact of the matter is, neither one of them probably make playoffs, but still.
it's looking pretty bad, especially in the West. That Pacific Division is looking really rough. I mean,
Oh,
the Los Angeles has 48 points, and everybody else struggling.
I mean, even their differential is all in the negatives except for Los Angeles. That's it. I mean, it's everybody is on a losing streak except for Los Angeles.
Well, uh, but quietly, and you know what we were saying, we didn't know what Chicago was coming with. Chicago, you can't count them out. So I mean, I think they have 46 points right now. Can't count them out. We know they got a lot of weapons still, even though they did lose some. You still got Jonathan Tage, you still got Patrick Kane, you still got Marian Hossa. You have a lot of players who can still do some big time things. So they're not a team you want to play in playoff time, man. Just simply put.
Yeah, and you know, in hockey it could go either way. I mean, you've seen the Kings, how they come in,
AC, Stanley
beat the team,
Cups.
and win the Stanley Cup. You know, Chicago, they could do the same thing. But I have noticed that, you know, Chicago been mixing up their lines a lot. I mean, I've seen Hossa on the first line, I've seen Hossa on the second line, I've even seen him drop down to the third line. Chicago keeps it mixed up, and I think that's been a lot of success for the reason why they win some of their games. But you know, eventually they're going to have to start slowing that down and start developing a line, because you know, especially in those grinder games, when you drop that last line and you're running your top three lines and not your top four lines. When you start getting into those three lines, man, you're really going to have to need somebody to start filling in those roles. So, you know, Chicago, they've been in some grinders, but nothing like what Dallas has been in. Dallas has been in a lot of grinders. St. Louis is a grinding team, and you know that. And but Chicago, I think Chicago will be fine. I mean, they're looking really good, but personally, I think they need to start focusing on three lines and start running three lines because they have enough people there to run a good three-line set. Though I don't think they're as deep as some other teams like Montreal. Montreal has a fantastic, not Montreal, my fault, not Montreal. Washington. Washington has three deep lines, and they got a fourth one that could be a second line on any other team, which was
Well,
actually surprising because I didn't expect them to have that much talent.
well, the thing with Chicago, man, and then I guess we can move on to our final topic, which doesn't have anything to do with the NBA or NHL, but everybody will like it. It's all good.
It's all good.
But
They'll work
no,
with it.
yeah. Um, I I think Joel Quenneville, the coach there, he'll get that like you was talking about with the rotations. I think they'll get that settled down. I think Chicago can put together at least a good solid three lines. The thing with Chicago is they were, I guess they felt like they could afford to let go of a lot of those guys because they have a lot of young talent there. So they figure they can develop them and put them in the third and fourth line.
Which
Then
is
they
what
could,
they did.
yeah. And so they figure they can develop those guys during the season. You get into some good playoff positioning. I mean, whether it's the fourth, fifth, sixth seed, whatever. I mean, I think they were the sixth seed last year and they won the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
So, and then the Kings were eighth seed before, won the Stanley Cup. I mean, in hockey, it's one of those things where I think the talent pool is as close as it can be. I mean, when you look at other sports, the NBA, NFL, the talent pool between the good teams and the bad teams is kind of a wide gap or wider gap than it would be in the NHL. In the NHL, man, you have all these teams have good players.
Yeah.
And so if you get in the playoffs, you have a chance to make a run.
Hmm.
And especially if you have a good goaltender, because you know a good goaltender is the ultimate equalizer to a team that can score some goals.
I mean, you know, you look at Chicago and the way they played last year. Um, I can't remember the goaltender's name. Tell me who it is.
Corey Crawford.
Corey Crawford.
Corey Crawford.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, even in the first round, he got pulled a couple of times because he allowed too many goals. But you know, when he settled in, he pitched shutouts, man. I mean, I think it was like game four, or game five of the first round when he came in. I mean, 33 shots on goal, and he stopped all 33. I mean, he became a wall. And when you got a team that can become a wall, and then on top of that, you know, Sharp came in and he didn't even miss a beat, dude. I mean, this guy come in off of broken collarbone or broken
That
leg.
was Kane. That was Patrick Kane who had the
Or
broken
Patrick
collarbone.
Kane. He breaks something. I don't remember what he broke.
It was his collarbone.
Oh, is it collarbone? Okay. So he breaks his collarbone, and this dude hits the ice and has like 9 goals throughout the playoffs. I was like, what in the hell? This guy must have been practicing with one arm. He had to have been. Because I mean, you're not gonna move your arm with that collarbone. You're not doing this. So that's over. He's out there practicing. He had to be. There's no way, dude. He was a playoff MVP, dude. It was insane. You froze up again.
Well, well, shoot. Hey, well, with that, let's get to the last topic. So we agree we're pretty surprised the Dallas Stars have kind of popped up like they have. We'll see if they can keep it up, and we'll see how Chicago rises up, and we'll see if those picks Anaheim and Nashville rise up too. But
I'm gonna hold my breath on it because Rene has been no. He hasn't been the goaltender that he was last year.
yeah, well, yeah, we'll see if he could get back to it, man. It does seem like he's been struggling a little bit. I mean, I don't even think he's really been playing a whole lot, man. They had another goaltender in there for a little bit, so I don't know if Reyna's even injured.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he's injured or not. I know he hasn't played. He didn't play a few games, like 4 or 5 of them in a row, man. So he might have been injured. I don't know, but anyway, even before the injury, he wasn't really playing that well.
Right.
He was getting beat a lot on the fifth hole.
Yeah.
So right in between his legs, he was getting beat a lot. So I don't know. I mean, he was moving a little slower than usual.
Well, Patrick, well, with that, let's talk about Chip Kelly. So we didn't get the chance to talk about it on our last show, but yeah, so Chip Kelly, he got fired by the Philadelphia Eagles. They didn't even wait till Black Monday to get him out of there. So, so what is your response to that one? I mean, for me, look, the GM Chip Kelly got the coach fired.
Hey,
Because
you know what
he
I
has
say?
some terrible, terrible, terrible pickups.
Oh yeah. Look, it's like this with Chip Kelly, man. Good riddance. I don't like him. Anybody named Chip should be fired just for having the name Chip. You know what I'm saying? It's like no. I don't know. He got rid of all of his players, man. I mean, how do you expect to win when you get rid of all your players and you keep Sam freaking Bradford?
Well, they picked up Bradford and let Nick Foles go in the trade, but that right there, that was the worst to me. That was the worst.
But you know what? It followed suit about what Philadelphia does. What do they always say?
Ain't nobody gonna outtake that.
Nobody's going to outtake Philly. He fired Chip Kelly. I'm surprised they didn't give him a raise for losing all the games.
Oh, Patrick, when you think about this, man. All right, so Chip Kelly, he likes to run this up tempo system, and I don't think the system is the problem per se. I think that the system it's decent, but in order for that system to work, you need dynamic playmakers. When he got to Philadelphia, he had those guys. He had LaShawn McCoy in the running back position. He had Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Maclin as his wide receivers. He even had Michael Vick as a quarterback. And now we know Michael Vick has a problem staying healthy, but this was the system where he could be really neutralized, or excuse me, where he could be really where he could blossom with his running ability and the way he can throw, and you're handing off, you're doing a zone read or a read option play to LaShawn McCoy. That's lethal.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get rid of those guys and you replace them, in particularly the receivers. You replace Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Maclin with guys who just aren't as good. Frankly, they're not as good as those guys. You bring in DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews to replace LaShawn McCoy, but you're not running DeMarco Murray up the middle at all. And Ryan Matthews, he can't stay healthy ever. So the main thing with that whole thing with the system is, in order for it to work at its maximum capacity, you need a quarterback who can run. So even if they did run DeMarco Murray up the middle or use him like he was intended to, they weren't gonna. I mean, they really weren't gonna worry about it because they were just gonna stuff the box because they're not worried about Sam Bradford running.
Well, you're not worried about him reading defense either, because he can't. I mean, look, he can't read defense, so he doesn't know what to audible. And even when you run DeMarco Murray up the middle, like you said, they're just going to clog the box. So what's the point? So now you have to push DeMarco Murray east and west. And what does that do to your offense? Nothing.
Nothing. You don't get no yards. You ain't
You're
get
not
no
getting
yards. You don't get
yards.
no push.
You're not doing anything with play action, and that makes Sam Bradford useless. It makes DeMarco Murray useless, and it makes every one of those wide receivers and the tight end useless. Well, guess what? Philly is useless, just like they are in baseball, just like they are in basketball, just like they are in hockey, and just like they are in the NFL. Can't out tank me. All four teams. There you go. Can't out
Oh,
tank me.
he said another acronym. I like how you counted the fingers. Can't out.
COTM. There you go. COTM. Can't out tank me. There you go. There's my acronym. There are two acronyms for the day.
HHB and
HHB and COTM.
oh boy. Well, look, man. Yeah. I mean, it was one of those things where as soon as he got control of um what players to bring onto the team, you could just kind of see it just becoming doomed from the start. Just bringing in guys like Sam Bradford and DeMarco Murray, not using him the way he's intended to. I mean, because when he was the leading rusher for the Cowboys, he was a downhill runner. I
Mhm.
mean, pretty much a pro style I form type of deal, and he did his thing. Came to Philadelphia, and look, I don't have no sympathy for DeMarco Murray either. Just for the record, this man went. He went where he could get more money. It's basically what he did. So if he's unhappy, that's what he gets. So no sympathy for him either. But yeah, Chip Kelly just again, man. I think it wasn't so much the system failing him, but he just did not have the players to run that system, and that is nobody else's fault but his.
The system didn't fail him. He failed the system, and that's what happened.
There
Simple as
you go.
that. Simple as that. So I have no sympathy for Chip Kelly either. He needs to take his butt back to the college because that's where he was successful. But other than that, as long as he doesn't go to Georgia, I'm good.
Well, all right. Well, you know what, Patrick, that will conclude this show. So this is our final show for the year, and we will return next year and next week with shows. We'll be previewing the NFL playoffs because they will be kicking off next weekend, and we'll continue to follow up. We'll have a review of the college football playoff games as well. So with that said, anything you wanted to add before we say bye for the new year, Patrick?
Yeah, I want to add one thing. Don't, uh, don't forget that we're going to be reviewing college basketball. I think we need to do a review on that as well. So look for that coming up maybe next week or the week after. I would like to get one in. Maybe Charles will hopefully like to get one in before March Madness starts. So yeah, maybe we should get a college basketball one in as well.
All right. Well, yep. That will definitely be in the plans too, along with the other additions. Look for us on Twitter. Look for us on Instagram. You already know we have the Facebook pages, and we're over here on YouTube as well. Go ahead and subscribe to the page, like the Facebook page. Give us feedback. Don't be scared. Please give us feedback. Or we're just going to continue to just clown y'all for not giving us feedback because we're going to say that you're scared. So
Yeah,
just go.
cats. Bop 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 bop.
so with so with that, don't look, don't worry about Patrick trolling y'all like he does. But yeah, with that, we hope 2015 was a good year for y'all. It was definitely a good year for us to build some foundation, and we hope 2016 will be good for y'all coming up. So until then, everybody take care, everybody be safe out there, and happy new year to all. Take care.